Since both players lost a step, they suffered a step loss, they're both required to do a morale check. You have to involve every unit that was involved in the attack in this morale check, which means Hey Bear and Bussy, since they were the only two involved. We will do the morale check for Hey Bear first. We'll roll the dice and then take into account his morale of -1 into our dice roll. A 6 minus 1 is 5. It's higher than 3, so he passes the morale check, so he does not have to retreat. Now Bussy. With a morale of 0 and a roll of 3, 3 means he has to perform another retreat because he failed his morale check.
On this side of the board, during the combat phase, Price A and B artillery units are touching the 24th Missouri, so they must engage. The Price units have a total of 7 attack, and the 24th Missouri has a 1 defense, so the odds are 7-1. However, on the attacker's combat ratio, the maximum ratio is 6-1, so we will use that column. The attacking roll was 2, and the defense roll was 3. Now the 2, because of a -1 morale, will become a 1, which, in the 6-1 odds, is a 1R. The 24th Missouri has only 1 step, so they will be eliminated from the board. The defense roll of 3 will do nothing to the attacking units. It is now turn 2, and the first piece that was drawn was the Missouri State Guard. I will move Price's artillery 6, or they have 3 movement points, but I can move 6 along the board. I will move 5 spaces to Elkhorn Tavern to take that objective point. These units must use 2 movement points to move out of the woods, and with the 2 remaining, I will move 4 spaces along the road. Slack will move 2, 4, and will be unable to move any farther.
Alright, so the next piece to be drawn was the 1st Division under Osterhaus. I'm going to move this piece. It has 3 movement points. So I'm going to move him up here, this way, to stop the Confederate forces. And once I entered his zone of control, I had to stop moving. And I'm going to move this piece and stack them together.
The next piece to be drawn is the Confederate combat phase marker. Over here, Hey Bear must either engage or retreat. Because he is outnumbered, I will retreat away from the enemy to this hex. On this side of the board, there are no units touching each other, but I can now have an artillery bombardment. These 2 stacked artillery units have an attack of 7. However, when using a bombardment, your attack must be cut in half, which would be 3.5, rounded down is 3. The attack will be then 3-4 with Dodge's defense. The odds will be 1-1 when you round. So, when I roll, I will take into account my -1 morale, and the defense will not have a roll because they will not be able to affect the attacking artillery. My roll is 4. On the 1-1 odds is a 1, which becomes a 3 because of my morale, which is still 1. So, Dodge must have 1 step loss. When using a bombardment attack, look at the rules manual to determine whether you can attack a unit or not, depending on the terrain. In this situation, because we were facing each other along a straight road and I was within 4 spaces, I was able to attack Dodge.
Alright, so the next piece to be drawn was Carr's 4th Division. And so this new player will enter, he enters at turn 2, Hex C. He has 3 movement points, so on road that means 6. So I'm going to move him right here, almost to the Union headquarters. Dodge is also under Carr's 4th Division. So I'm going to move him back, and I'm going to stack these players.
The next piece to be drawn was McCullough's division. I will move these units next to Osterhaus in order to engage. I'll move Hebert there. I'll stack those pieces there, move along the road adjacent, and I'll just move my artillery up behind.
Alright, so the next little piece to be drawn was the combat phase for the Union. So over here, we're in each other's zone of control, so I'm going to perform an attack. Pike is a unique character. He represents that the Indians that helped the Confederates fight. There are special rules for Pike. One of them is that if he is adjacent to an enemy artillery, he must automatically retreat, so he will not be part of this battle. He will automatically retreat. The odds will end up being, I have 6 attack, and the Confederate has 18 defense strength, so that's going to be 1 to 3 odds in favor of the Confederates. I have a morale of +1. Confederates have morale of 0. I rolled a 1, so nothing happens to the Confederates. And then the Confederates roll for their defense, and they roll a 6. So, with their 0 morale, it stays the same, 3R, which means each of my players lose a step, and another player loses another step, which means they are forced to die. So I'll eliminate this player. And I am required to retreat. In addition to retreating, since I lost a step, I must perform a morale check for that player to see if he retreats another step. A 1, he fails his morale check, so I will retreat him to this hex.
The next piece to be drawn was the independent phase marker. Bussy is the only independent unit on the board. For him, I'll use 2 movement points to get him back on the road, and then I will move here in order to just block the Confederate movement towards the objective.
Alright, so that concluded a full 2 turns of the game. So hopefully that helped you understand the process of how movement and some fighting works.
As the game moves forward, you can check when the Union will be receiving reinforcements based on the USA markers on each turn. As the game turn piece moves forward, these are the units that will be entering on different turns: turn 3, turn 4, turn 6, 8, and 12. For any other specific questions that you have, just make sure you check the rule book. Otherwise, there are some forums online that you can look at. Enjoy the game.